Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mentor Talk, the unique destination for insightful conversations with experienced professionals. I'm your host, Suzette, the CEO of Sales Pro for You, and more about me later during this episode. So, without further ado, let's start into today's enlightening conversation with Jaroslav. Hey, Jaroslav, how are you doing?
Hi, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Great. So I was just checking a bit your background. I believe you are born in Poland, right? And then you moved to the UK, or how is it? Maybe you can explain.
Yeah, so originally I'm from Poland. I've spent half of my life over there. I started my professional career in Poland in Warsaw. And after a few years, I've moved to United Kingdom. And right now, like for 13 years, I'm living and working in the UK.
Wow, okay, this is amazing. So do you feel fine with the mentality of the British people? I mean, it's a difference, right?
Yeah, so the case is that I believe that in Eastern Europe, we are very direct. You know, one of my former managers said that I'm very Polish, meaning that I'm very direct. But I've learned to be more like soft towards people, and that helps me a lot right now.
Yeah, interesting. So, I mean, I made an experience if I'm getting into, in touch with, let's say, potential customers, new clients. It depends very much on the mentality, how to start, the business conversation. At the beginning, I try to chit chat a lot, some small talk at the beginning. If I do business in Germany, it's just like bam, bam, bam.
So that's very true. And I remember I was doing a presentation in Finland some time ago. And my audience was very like silent, not speaking anything, and I was thinking, this presentation is not good, this is not going to work. But at the end of the presentation, one of the guests approached me and said, very good presentation, without showing any emotions there. So that's true, the English people, let's say here in England, it's very popular that they say, how are you doing? They start from the small talk. In Germany, it's more direct, in Poland, it's right straight to the point as well. And I believe most of Eastern Europe is also straight to the point, where the Westerns country like to have this small talk before they engage with somebody.
Okay, we are already inside of our enlightening discussion, right? So I would like to understand more about your background. So Jarek, do you mind, to share with me some information? So, I mean, about your expertise, maybe what kind of studies you did in the past.
Yeah, so I'm very happy to do it. So I've studied in Warsaw in a college, public administration. And I cannot believe, but it's 25 years now when I started my professional career. So half of my professional career, I was working as a purchasing specialist. And the other half, I was an inside sales person. So I've started in the furniture industry. What is interesting there, immediately I was given the task of establishing a new department in this company. That was a German company called Walter Möble, and we had a headquarters in Grundau in Germany. And, there was a new department that was being formed, and I was asked to establish the document flow and the procedures for this department. So this is how my career started. Later on, I moved to Hyatt, which is a 5-star hotel chain worldwide. I was a purchasing specialist over there as well, making sure that the hotel is supplied with everything they need. After that, I moved to a distributor, to a IT distributor, one of the biggest IT distributors in Poland, that was called ABC Data at the time. They were later purchased by Also. And this is where I started to work with big brands like Oki, Sony, Panasonic, all those big, very famous companies that we all know and use on a daily basis even. And this role gave me the opportunity to also work in their portals, in the portals that the customers use. For instance, cooperating with Samsung gave me the opportunity to test and help them to develop GSBN, which is a customer portal of Samsung. And this was my last role in Poland, and this was my last role as in a purchasing department. Later on, I moved to the UK, to Kingston Technologies, so still in the IT industry. And this is where I started to be an inside sales responsible for accounts in Eastern Europe, working with channel partners, developing them, making sure that the business is growing and the products are widely known. And after a couple of years, I was given the opportunity to move to Alphawire, which is a Belgian brand, to manage a team and an office there. So at Belden or Alphawire, I was wearing like 3 hats. One, the inside sales, managing the region. Then I had a second hat managing an office, and a third hat of managing a team in the office that was responsible for sales in the whole EMEA region. And after a couple of years, I moved again to material handling industry, again, being responsible for an inside sales team that was newly created, that I have to coach, that I have to make sure that we do the right things at the right time with our customers. So basically, this is me.
Wow, Jarek, I'm so impressed about this background. You just made it in a nutshell, right? I mean, I have to point this out. I would say there's more things we could elaborate about. Yes, I have a lot of questions in my mind right now. So maybe we start with the first one. You mentioned that you also worked for bigger companies like Panasonic and for Samsung and something like this, so bigger brands. What is your feeling about being a mentor in the future for Sales Pro for you, and especially supporting startups or scale-ups? Because I guess there's a big difference, right? What do you think about this?
That's correct. But, I had the opportunity, especially when I started in my first role, that Möbelwalter, or Walter Möbler, however we call it, was a startup in Poland. So the building was not even finished when they started to hire people. And this is where I've entered this company. And so I could see how the company is starting. And the same happened with Alphawire for me, because when I've moved into this company, they were reorganizing all the procedures and, reforming the inside sales team. And the same happens to me for the third time now in the material handling in the material handling industry, because, the team is fresh here, and the people, they don't know, or they didn't know how to move on with their tasks and approach the market. So I would say, the cooperation with those big brands, even from the furniture company in the past, as well as the IT industry, it gives me the possibility and the experience how those big companies perceive those small companies. What is the drive, what is interesting for them. And basically, it's always exciting to meet people that are new on the market, because they have fresh minds. They see opportunities that are standing right in front of them, and they are very keen to grasp them. So it's very easy sometimes to work with those companies, because the processes are not so complicated. There is usually 1 or 2 people responsible for making the decisions. So you can implement things quite quickly within those small companies, and everybody is very excited there, because it's something fresh, new. I want to achieve something. I want to succeed. So the drive is different than sometimes in those big corporations and companies.
Yes, you're so right. I mean, we are just more flexible, right? I mean, when we are working together with startups, I mean, they have the drive. They have also, I mean, of course, the issue is sometimes the budget, right? So this is, on the other hand, needs to be, let's say, improved or something like this. Yeah. However, I have another question, because I was also now recognizing your nice background. There's a puzzle piece, right? I mean, and this reminds me just a bit about your background, because you explained that you have a very diverse background. So you spoke about being a furniture sales manager, and then you jumped into the IT sector. So I believe there's a big difference. So maybe you can elaborate a bit about how important it is to have a diverse background, and how this is going to be helpful for your career.
So I believe that, having all those backgrounds, because this is furniture, this is hotel industry, this is IT, cable and wires, material handling equipment right now, but they all have like very common themes there that are working in all of those sectors. And I believe that, you can apply your knowledge and your background or your strategies in the same way in all those sectors. What changes is the system, the product, obviously, but basically, everything else that you work with, all the processes, they remain the same. But, what is good about that you see it from various angles. You see the business from various angles. So for me, what is very helping in my career is the fact that in the past I was in the purchasing department. Now I'm in the sales department. So I could learn from both angles there. But also when it comes to the fact that, there is a variety of the industries, you see how some aspects of the business are important in one area or in one markets, or one, industries, and some other things are more important in other industries. So you can shuffle it, it's like this puzzle piece that you have seen, it fits in different places, in different companies, in different industries. So I believe that, the variety that I could experience in the past just helps me to be more flexible and agile in the market, and just be more responsive to the needs of the company I'm working for.
I totally agree with you, Jarek. I mean, I'm just, saying about a bit my background. So I am coming from science. So, I'm a scientist. And then I jumped into sales and marketing. And then at the end, if I'm now like you, looking back, in the past and the things I achieved, I'm just saying to myself, it was always a good decision, to be so diverse, to try and to feel the complete customer journey, because this is at the end what maybe makes you, to a good sales or to a good marketing manager, or in general, to be just, very responsive also to your client, to work with them on a very good level, because you can reflect, any kind of experience from the different, let's say, branches and departments you also worked within. My next question is a bit challenging, because I would like to understand what your most challenging business success story is, and also how you overcome the obstacles. So maybe you have something in mind.
Yes, I could share a few stories, but we would have to spend here like a lot of time. We don't want to do this. So the first thing that comes to my mind is the fact that when I joined AlphaWire that was 2015. As I said, the company and the team was undergoing through changes. So what has happened there, when I arrived, I was appointed to be the office manager and the inside sales manager. So as I've mentioned before, I was wearing like 3 hats. One hat was the inside sales, managing the region. And I had like EMEA under myself, and specifically Eastern Europe and Middle East at that time. And I had to develop it. So I had to make sure that, we are reaching to the customers, to all the customers with our product. And I have discovered that, our partners that we work with are not reaching the whole market. So I had to look for new distributors that we could work with at that time. So that was one of the tasks there. The second task was managing the teams. They didn't have opportunity follow-up procedures. So we had to establish all of those, write them down on a piece of paper, and make sure that the whole team is following them. Forever, I was working with sales teams in the field. So I had to make sure that there is a link between the inside sales and the external sales people that are working in the field. So I had to build those bridges there, And the third aspect was the office management itself, meaning reduce the costs of the office, reduce some processes in the office that took a lot of time of some of the people working there and also were very expensive. So simple things like changing some of the vendors or other things like, one of the most, I would say, successful stories that we have looked into a process that was taking 4 days, and we were able to reduce it to 2.5 hours. So that was a massive change because we gained one head in the office that we could ask this person to do completely something else because, 4 days of work was reduced to 2.5 hours. So that was a big accomplishment. So when I joined the company, the office was making roughly $10 million. And when I was leaving, it was roughly $20 million.
Wow,
so
congratulations.
That was a big success that where I can, put my name against.
I love such stories. And I also really liked the picture you just framed about wearing multiple hats, right? And it just reminds me about having multiple personalities. So this is what I just, took with me today. I was speaking with another mentor, and she mentioned it's indeed like this. And you have not always to be 100% on all such personalities or such hats, like you said it. It's important to be, straight on the single one on a specific issue. So sometimes you need to be the manager, sometimes you need to be the team leader, sometimes you need to be the sales support, something like this, right? I mean, this is, I guess, the most challenging part.
The fact that I'm not only managing a team, or I was not only managing the team, but I'm also managing my own region. So the team, they see that I'm doing the same things as them, that I understand their problems that they have to face, So for me, it's also easy because, I'm sitting there as well doing the same things, not only mentoring and trying to develop personalities in my team, but I'm also doing the job of selling.
So there are also many startups or scale-ups outside. They would like to expand their business into a new region or into a new market. Do you have any kind of advice?
So basically, there are questions that such startups, I would say, would have to answer. The first thing is which market is that they want to go to, What are the language skills within the team that they have? If they are working directly or through partners, when they choose distributors, what kind of distributors are those? What is the reach of those distributors or channel partners, however we will call them? So, there are a lot of questions before we could make the answer. And I would say this would have to be taken case by case. There is no straight answer that would be applying to everybody because, let's say, the product may be suitable in one market more than the other markets. My experience, let's say, from AlphaWire shows that, for instance, when we were specifying in a cable into devices, we knew that most of the engineers are sitting in Germany and Northern Europe. So if we wanted the cable to be specified, we had to approach those people. And later on, those devices that were using those cables were produced in Eastern Europe. So if we wanted to have a good, reach to the market with our products, we have to make sure that in Eastern Europe, the stock levels are made in the right way so that the factories can buy on time and have the availability there. So it all depends, because we can speak about now Africa and Middle East as well, that have their own requirements and their own, let's say, regional specifics. And it all combines as well in the fact, okay, what are the abilities of the team? Because my view of managing EMEA as a region is to think locally, but act globally. Meaning I have to have people that understand the culture of the country, can speak the language, but have the reach on the whole of the region as well. So there is a lot of aspects that we could discuss here, and I would say it would have to be taken case by case and dismantled a little bit. What do we really want to achieve and where and with what?
Yes, thank you, Jarek. Really nice quote also, by the way, what you just mentioned. Of course, we can speak now for hours, but let me ask you one more question. And this is a special question because it comes from Rudy. So yeah, Rudy is a special, let's say, a questioner of this podcast show. Who he is, I will tell you later during the show. However, my question, or Rudy's question to be precise, is how do you balance free time and business, Jarek?
Yeah, so I believe that Gandhi said something that you cannot succeed in one department of life while cheating on another.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay.
And the case is that, you know, after a busy day in the office, you have to go out, switch off, put your laptop down, and just focus on completely something else and reset, you know. During my time as a manager, I was always making sure that my team have the time not only to work, you know, but also to enjoy the work and also to be off the work, if that makes sense. Because, you know, if we do not reset our batteries, if we do not have this place where we can completely switch from all the, you know, troubles or the problems that we face at work, you know, we will be more and more frustrated and angry and less effective. So for me, it's always important to have this time. Okay, now I'm with my family. It's Sunday. I enjoy the sun. Personally, I have recently discovered Scotland and the Highlands over there. So I love hiking, and I have been there a couple of times already with my family. So, you know, what gives me a drive also just to switch out from the outside world in the nature. So this is what I'm doing, trying to go somewhere, you know, with a lot of trees, a lot of green, enjoy it, and then come back. But it's important that, you know, we do not cheat here, because if you cheat on your leisure time, you will not be successful in your business time. So there has to be a balance between those two for everybody.
Thank you so much, Jarek. This is very impressive and really charming, as well as you just, you know, explained what are you doing and how you also, you know, have, let's say, a very relaxing free time, and how important this is for you as well as for your family, right? So, okay. And yes, I would just say that wraps up our enlightening episode of the Mentor Talk of today. So thank you so much, Jarek. It was
Thank you very much.
Pleasure talking to you. And just some final words from my side. Remember, success is a journey, and having the guidance and the wisdom of an experienced professional makes all the difference. So don't forget this. And if you have any feedback of today's show, or if you want to get a support by today's expert, Jaroslav, please reach out to me. Or I just forgot. Or if you also would like to become part of this community of Sales Pro for You, being a mentor for our startups, please email me too. It's written there. It's mentor@salesproforyou.com. So it was a pleasure. Thank you so much. And yeah, bye-bye.